All right. Well, it's about three after. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us for our scholarship roundtable this evening. My name is Ben Molzon. I'm the program administrator for student engagement and communications at the College Fund. We have a great panel for you tonight. And before we do that, just a few things. If you want to put in the chat where you're joining us from, and also you can put in any questions you have as we're going through the panel in this evening, and we'll try to answer them to the best of our ability, and take some time at the end. And so to start out, before I introduce everyone on the panel, I wanted to run through just our overall scholarship process. So I just have a few slides to share. Sibune, can you see that all right? I know you're on screen. Excellent. So yeah, the American Indian College Fund scholarships. Oops. There we go. So the American Indian College Fund scholarship, it opened on February 1st for the fall 2023 and the spring 2024 school year. And then our application deadline every year is May 31st. So May 31st, 2023 is this year's deadline. And you can find all of the information on our scholarships and apply to the scholarships at collegefund.org/scholarships. And just a little bit about the scholarship as a whole. It's one scholarship, and the College Fund has over 100 scholarship opportunities through this one application. So this includes from different businesses like Costco, AT&T, as well as the Tribal College and University Scholarship falls under this as well. And a little bit on the scholarship eligibility. So you need to be a U.S. citizen, a tribal member or descendant of a tribe through your parents or your grandparents, from a state or federally recognized tribe. You need a 2.0 GPA, and you need to be a full-time student at a nonprofit accredited institution in the U.S. And also, our scholarship is not a needs-based scholarship, so you don't need to provide any information showing that you need funds for school. It's strictly based on merit, so your grades and then our application reviewing process. And then a few things for what you need to apply. So we ask that you provide a professional photo, so nothing like any selfies or yourself cut out, but something that shows your face clearly. And then also your proof of tribal enrollment and or descendancy through your parents or grandparents. And then a transcript. So your most recent transcript, and it doesn't need to be an official one, but you can get this from the Office of the Registrar at either your high school if you're a senior applying to our scholarships, or if you're a college student applying to the scholarships. And then a quick note on a section that we'll go into more detail as we go through the panel, but our application reflection questions. And so the questions are: what challenges have you overcome to attend college? What are your educational and career goals? And then how will completing your education impact the Native American community? And so those questions are reviewed by our reviewers and a larger portion of our scholarship application as well. And for a quick walkthrough and a step-by-step process of our application, we have a video that I will drop into I'll drop the link into the chat here. So this is just a quick like 6-minute video that has a step-by-step process for any new scholars that are applying to our scholarship, but also if you're returning to apply to our scholarship. And then if you are one of our scholarship recipients, there's additional support. So a lot of the scholarships include coaching support and resources, and then internship placement and career planning resources and career services, conference and event opportunities, And scholars can even apply to the College Fund Student Ambassador Program. And Stephanie Robinson, who's joining us tonight, who's a scholarship recipient, is also part of our Student Ambassador Program. So she could talk a little bit more about that once we get to the panel section of this evening. And as always, you can join us and follow us for all of our opportunities and deadlines, posts, and any important information at Native Pathways on all of our social media. So that was just a quick overview of our scholarship application. And I wanted to introduce our panel for the evening. So I saw Siboney just jumped on the screen. So Siboney, if you wanted to introduce yourself, let us know where you're from, how long you've been reviewing applications. But yeah, thank you.
Cool. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Siboney Salazar. I grew up in Boulder, Colorado. I'm enrolled in Taos Pueblo and Santa Ana Pueblos in New Mexico. And I've been reviewing for the past year. I currently work at the University of Colorado Boulder as the program manager for the Center for Native American and Indigenous Studies. So I run a certificate program for graduate students and undergraduate students at CU Boulder.
Excellent. Thank you. And thank you for joining us and for your time this evening.
Thank
And
you.
then we also have a scholarship recipient and student ambassador joining us tonight. Stephanie, if you wanted to introduce yourself.
Hi, sorry, I'm joining from my car. I was traveling home. My name is Stephanie Robinson. I am, yes, what Ben said, a scholarship recipient and a student ambassador with the College Fund.
Well, great. Thank you. So I think we could hop right into the panel. So I'll pose this first one to Siboney. Could you kind of just walk through the process of reviewing the scholarship applications and kind of what that's like? And yeah, just the process as a whole as a reviewer for the College Fund scholarships.
Yeah, so we take a mandatory training about what students are being asked, but also what the point scoring system is. And it's really holistic because it talks about the values of the American Indian College Fund and what they value in a student and what they want to see being, looked out for, and how we grade the scholarships and the answers that come through. After that, we're let in into a program that we don't know your names. We don't know, where you're from unless specified in the scholarship. And so it's completely anonymous to us, but our goal is to see that the questions are answered and that the values are reciprocated in those answers.
Oh, great. Thank you. And then Stephanie, I had a question for you, just about when you first applied and then how long you've been a scholarship recipient.
Sorry, I applied in the spring of 2021 for the following school year, 21 and 22, and I've been a recipient. This will be my second year.
Great. And you talk about a little bit about the process of applying and when you when you apply and how early you apply every single year and just the process of applying every single year in order to receive funding again.
Yeah, I've applied in February each time. Usually I try to do it before the end of February. And the process is very smooth. I feel like some scholarships, there's so many requirements and things that you have to upload, and I don't know. I really like the College Funds application process. It usually takes me about a day or two to finish everything, working on it for a couple hours here and there.
Thank you. And there's I mentioned it briefly in the PowerPoint presentation, but I'm going to bring that up once more. The reflection questions that are and that's a larger portion of the scholarship application. I wanted to speak to those. Have both of you speak to that briefly. Let me share my screen again so everyone can see the application questions. Can you both see that okay?
Yep.
Great. So Sibone, I wanted to, in a reviewer's perspective, when you're reviewing the different applications, what are you looking for in the reflection questions and in each answer, and what can any tips you can provide for students, what you're looking for as a reviewer?
Yeah, so as somebody who's being asked to review and read these questions, I'm always looking for, did you answer the question? That's my first response. And, when I look at it, sometimes you can not answer a question, or you can kind of veer off topic a little bit and go in your own way. But if the question is answered, for me, that's a number one, like, all right, immediate response. I'm receiving the information you're putting in, but something that's also really concise. And just as a Native person in general, and because of the whole concept of the scholarship, I like to look to see, that you are an active member or keeping your community in mind. That's something that I specifically kind of keep an eye on. But for concise, simple answers, and that you're answering the question. That's the main thing that I look at when I'm reviewing the scholarships. Sometimes I will say for the second question, what are your educational career goals? I guess I'll just say, speaking from personal experience, I didn't really know what I wanted to do as a college student. I was undeclared for a while until I figured it out. And I feel that may have hindered, hindsight 2020, I feel that may have hindered my position in getting scholarships now that I'm a reviewer and I've come full circle. I like to see that there's actually a plan, even if that might not be something that you end up doing. Just to know that there are some small goals or immediate goals that you're able to accomplish. But something that's not, like, well, I don't know if I'll do that, real confident answers is something that piques my interests. And it makes me think, you know what, this person deserves scholarship because they have goals they're answering, and it's an actual path to making those career goals happening. In the third question, how will completing your education impact the Native American community? I think it says that. Yeah, once again, answering the question, even if you don't have an answer, even if your process is, kind of critically thinking through that answer in different ways, that you can put it back into our communities. That's something that piques my interest as well.
Well, excellent. Thank you. Those are great insights from the reviewer perspective. And then Stephanie, from the scholarship recipient viewpoint, what are some of the different things with these questions, or any advice that you have for students, and the types of things that you put in these reflection question essay sections of the application?
Yeah. So for the first question, I think I spoke to, I'm not a traditional student. I'm married and I have kids. And in order for me to attend the college that I'm at, my family had to move. We moved during COVID. My husband and I both changed jobs. So that was just a lot to do with starting a new program. And going to school with kids is a lot harder than without kids, I'm finding out. And as far as educational and career goals, I have been very specific with those because they have been, my goals have stayed the same throughout my nursing career. I plan to get my BSN and then take a few years and gain experience and then go back for my doctorate and hopefully work on the reservation in a clinic focusing on women's health and preventive care. And I just think it helps being specific like that about a goal or what path you're going to take. And then for the last question, completing my education as a nurse, there's a huge nursing shortage right now, as there has been for quite a long time, but especially on my reservation, it seems like they are just having a healthcare crisis. And so my class has, I think over half the class, we are tribal members or tribal descendants, and we all plan to stay in this area and work with our communities.
And thank you for sharing that and those insights. And just to go off of that, our the reflection question, essay questions have a 300-word limit, but we do want you to fill up as much of that space as possible, and really make it about yourself and tell your story, and really give us the details as far as these questions go. Oh yeah, I see you have your hand raised, Stephen.
Yeah, I just wanted to add as well that, like when reviewing the scholarships, we are told that, our opinion isn't just like the end all be all. Like, I'm not just reviewing your scholarship and like, that's it. My review is the only one that's submitted and it's all in my hands. It's all, I think it gets reviewed multiple times, right, Ben, by other reviewers. And then there's like a medium or a mean to all of those scores. So at least there's some type of different, kind of thinking, and other people can read your scholarship and, grade it on a different kind of level as well.
Yeah, so it's reviewed by two other reviewers. And so there's a process of kind of the grading. And that, I guess, that kind of leads into a different question I have, Stephen A, is what else are reviewers looking for outside of these essay questions and the answers provided to these three questions?
We're looking for honors and distinctions. If you graduated as a valedictorian or you were on the president's list, if you have any other type of awards like academic awards, athletic awards, and also looking at extracurriculars, particularly extracurriculars that involve your community or are tied within community and the tribe or your tribe. I find a lot of value in like language and culture courses or any type of giving back to the Native community. Really important, because that's what it's all about. I feel like that's what I've been taught personally, and I think that's what this scholarship is kind of advocating for. We're looking for leaders that have honors distinctions, but also specific distinctions pertaining to your culture.
Thank you for those insights. And Stephanie has being a student ambassador, that's an honor distinction that she can include on her application process. But Stephanie, did you have other things that you've added into honors and distinctions in your extracurricular section of your application?
Yes, I have a 4.0 GPA and have made the president's list throughout my nursing degree process. And I think I added in like my volunteer work within the community and also my volunteer work with medical brigades, where we're not working within the tribal community on my reservation, but we're going to other countries and working with impoverished communities there. And that's a different cultural experience that has really changed my mindset.
And thank you for sharing those. But yeah, our reviewers do look for those sections of the application to have some things in there. So, whatever you can think of, whether it's whether it's president's list or different groups you're part of inside of school or outside of school, or related to any church groups if you have those, or sporting awards, or different events that you've done. I
Or
guess
community
Stephen,
service.
yeah,
Yeah.
Stephen, yeah. What are some of the other things that you've seen with
This,
scholarships?
yeah, this is like, I mean, a really creative scholarship that I saw once, that just made I'm not a mother, but it totally flipped my perspective. And honors and distinctions, one of the things was like, I have the honor of being so-and-so's mother. And I was like, oh my gosh, like that, right? Like, yeah, that is an honor. That is something I would totally consider. You're a non-traditional student. You are handling a lot right now, and that's an honor to you, and that's an honor to us. Definitely. I mean, you can get really creative with those types of things and really pull back and think about other community service that you do. Anything really counts. It's important to look at that. It's important to look at your leadership qualities, to see if you've ever been a leader in any type of capacity. And, that's important to me in grading as well.
Thank you. And then to add to Stephanie had mentioned about her GPA and having a 4.0 GPA. So the GPA does come into factor when the reviewers are reviewing the applications. I guess can you go into that a little bit, Sibane, as far as the GPA and the scoring and everything?
Yeah, the GPA is really important. You can get points off of your GPA. So if it's, lower than a 2.0, I don't think you get graded. That's it. That's all. But if it's anywhere above a 2.0, there's a system where there's points that belong to it. So I think a 4.0 is the highest scored, or above is the highest score you can get. So really, it is important to keep your GPA up and make sure that that's like the first thing that we see. It's the first thing we grade. GPA, go. Then we go into questions, and then it's honors, distinctions, extracurriculars. And that's how it goes. It's really simple on our end to review, but we're just inputting that type of information. So I have to admit, I wasn't the best student. And like I said, hindsight's 2020. As a reviewer on the other side and working with students at a college right now, I can see so many things that I didn't pay attention to, and I didn't think I was, going to be good at, or I didn't try. But it's important. And now that I look at it, I'm like, all right, yeah, I should have paid more attention to my GPA. I shouldn't have, hung out with my friends too much. I should have studied a little extra and did that, because I can see how these things are graded now. And I'm like, all right, I can see why I didn't get that scholarship, or, but it's okay. It's just a learning experience, but take it from me, I learned the hard way.
Well, thank you. And I saw someone mention in the chat. They said when answering questions, is age a factor? And to answer that, no, age isn't at all. So as Stephanie said, she's not a traditional student, and a lot of our students are non-traditional students, and we encourage folks of all age that are going to school full time at a nonprofit accredited institution to apply every single year. There's more funds every single year, and the applicant pool is different. Some folks may have graduated, and so we really do encourage everyone to apply every single year. If you don't, even if you don't receive it, but the scholarships change, and we add changes as well. Yes, and as Stephen has said, age, career path goals and stories are all really wide ranging, and that's what's great about our scholars is so unique and so diverse, and we really want you to show that throughout this the application process, especially in those reflection questions.
Yeah, like I said, goals big or small. I mean, just to see that there's a small goal, like, hey, I'm trying to get a 4.0 this semester. To me, that's still a goal that counts. That's something that I would pay attention to. It's attainable. You can do it. It's this semester. You have a short time to do it. Everything from that to just going to law school, after this, or getting my rent paid. Like, really, it is so wide ranging. And very eye-opening to what everyone wants to do.
Thank you. And Stephanie, I had a question for you. When you're reapplying, how do you go about, I guess editing your different your reflection questions, and I guess how do you change them over time, and your kind of process of writing the essay questions?
I just, look at the question and my answer and see if anything has changed. Like for this year when I did it, there weren't any challenges that were new that we were over or that I was overcoming to be able to attend college. And so I left that answer the same. And then my goals are also the same as they were the last time I applied. I might have updated like some dates on there. And then giving back to the community, I just added anything that had changed there. If I had done any curricular activities since I had last applied, or if that had changed. But otherwise, like my answers have kind of stayed the same. They've been consistent.
Thank you. Yeah, and like Stephanie said, if you're reapplying, so you're a scholar that's reapplying, you have the opportunity to edit your questions from last year and as well as change those. So we encourage students to edit those and in as they're reapplying, and even we tell students to kind of put it in a Word document and type out the questions and everything, and then paste them back into the box where the reflection questions are. And Sibane, when you're grading those questions, are you looking for, I guess grammatical errors, or just, how they're written?
No, I'm just looking at how they're written and they're answering the question. And, just particular kind of leadership qualities and things that they value and putting back into their community, and a lot of reciprocation, I guess. But grammatical errors and things like that aren't a factor in my grading at all. It's the fact that you're trying, you need the help, and you're answering the questions and applying for the scholarship.
And I saw a question here about the application and the scholarships being first come, first serve. So the scholarships that are submitted earlier are reviewed earlier, and then so funds, there's a possibility of funds running out if you don't apply as early. So as Stephanie said, we really do want you to apply as soon as possible. The deadline is May 31st, but really taking time and applying early, and making sure you're answering the reflection questions, and the whole scholarship and application as a whole just as effective as possible, and putting some time into the application. But as Stephanie said, we don't have a ton of other requirements, and it's it usually takes maybe about a few hours throughout your week to really complete it. But yeah. And then another question I had was, Sibane, was what are just some of the few other things that you're looking for in an application, and just kind of I guess things you're looking for as a reviewer, and then things that we ask reviewers to look for.
I guess I would say that you're a respectable person. Like I said, that there's reciprocity in your answers, and that you're a good student, and that you're helping others in your community, and that your goal is to put back into your community with your education. I learned so much in these I learn a lot in these applications about what communities you're coming from. I do try my best to look them up. I don't know every single tribe, but sometimes it comes out that there are certain specific issues in your tribe in these applications. So I do try my best to get my knowledge up to speed and make sure that I know, the lay of the land. But other than that, I just want to know that I value if that you want to help your people and put back and better your community. This is the main thing for me, at least.
Mhm. Thank you for reiterating. The strength of an application really does come from really taking time on those essay questions. And so that's why when we present about the scholarships, we really focus on the essay questions and ask the reviewers to look at those, but really want you just to express yourself in the best possible way, answering those 3 questions. And then Stephanie, did you have any other tips from a scholar recipient, just a scholar, or if anyone's starting out looking for scholarships and their scholarships, their scholarship search, any tips, tips or tricks that you have, or just any advice or insights for everyone joining us tonight?
What has worked well for me in the past few years is I save all of my scholarship answers. A lot of scholarship questions, you can just edit pieces of them and use them again. And so that really cuts down on some time that you're spending if you're applying for quite a few of them. And reference letters, if you don't need a reference letter for someone specifically addressing what you're doing with your goal, with your career or your education, or the committee that will be reviewing it, I always ask my references if I can use that letter for the school year. And then you don't have to constantly find new references or ask them to write you a new letter. And I've kind of tailored my scholarship search to specifically nursing scholarships and scholarships for women, and that seems to have worked well. Then applying for general scholarships with thousands and thousands of students applying for the same one.
Thank you. And Stephen, I saw you weren't, did you have something to add to the, okay. I saw you had unmuted. No, but that's great. But yes, just that's a great piece of advice from Stephanie, is to save your different answers from different scholarship applications. And I've heard different scholars for we just had our Native Scholarship Forum with the National Native Scholarship Providers, and so Native Forward, ACES, and Gobel, and they recommend saving the different answers and applying to as many scholarships as you can. And we also have additional scholarships on our scholarships page as well. And I'm putting in the chat the different application tips and the frequently asked questions that we get about our scholarship process, and the eligibility and their requirements as a whole. So there's a ton of resources in those 2 separate links as well.
I guess I'd like to add too, just there's also, the first question is a big question. It's about challenges and how you got to where you want to get, or how you've, come so far. So we are resilient people. There is a resilient factor in that question, but we're also, I think we're looking for problem solving skills. We're looking for how you got out of that challenging situation and what your mindset is moving forward. I look forward to applications that can provide some type of solution, if not a solution, but some type of resiliency and I'll get through this, or a positive attitude moving forward. That's really important, because it ensures to me that even though you're having hard times, you're able to move through it, you're able to get past it, and you're still going to succeed. And I think that's the whole basis of the scholarship. You want to ensure confidently they're going to be okay and moving forward and getting that. So that's another thing I was thinking of while we're talking about this.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, and well put. And thank you. And that was it as far as the questions I had. Did either of you have any last thoughts before I was going to open the chat open to any questions that everyone attending has on the different scholarships? I think we addressed the two that were in there, but yeah, just any other insights or tips and tricks of from the both your perspectives of being a reviewer and a recipient.
I would just say like concise writing, make it concise, make it easy to read. Definitely have someone else review your answers and make sure that they are being answered and the questions are being answered and that someone else can follow it as easily as you can. That's just an extra pair of eyes is always good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I have any new tips or anything, just making sure that you apply early and that your essay questions stand out along with your GPA and extracurriculars.
Well, thank you both. I didn't know if anyone had any questions, but if you do, you can place them in the chat. But in the meantime, we're going to put a few more links and just information down in the chat, along with how to stay connected up for different opportunities from other scholarship organizations and native scholarship opportunities and fellowships and internships, as well as our scholarship link. And also, we have a whole student success services team, as well as a scholarship team that can answer your questions. So if you want to email them at scholarships@collegefund.org, or you can reach them at 800-987-3863, and that's right there in the chat. And just any questions you have on this whole process that we didn't answer here tonight. But it was a lot of great information. And I want to thank Siboney and Stephanie both for their time.
Of course.
It doesn't look,
Thank you.
yeah, and it doesn't look like we have any questions that have popped up in the chat. But again, for everyone that's attended tonight, the application deadline is May 31st. No, it looks like there is a raised hand. So I can allow Kat to talk.
Hi, good evening. My name is Catherine Morris. Everybody just calls me Kat. My question is I was in school, I'm a non-traditional student, but I'm a grandma, last time I was in school was like 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and I just wanted to know if because I was going to school and having to quit because like back then there wasn't money for babysitting and all that, and I kept having to quit because I had my kids at the time. Is it I mean, because since I've been back to school since last fall, not this past fall but the last year, I've been on the dean's list every semester and everything, but my GPA is still only like 2.6. So I mean, is it possible to only use my school? I mean, like only use my grades from these past semesters, or is it all going to just be the cumulative GPA that gets graded?
Thank you for your question. So when you have your your transcript, it'll include your overall GPA. So it'll be whatever your latest uh whatever your latest transcript is. So your most previous grades. So that would be from the fall, and you can also include your current ones as well. But it's really showing you know your most recent transcript that you have. So if you haven't attended school in a while, but just providing that latest one that you have if you've started school just recently. And then Sibune, can you I guess speak to um the grade point average and how that kind of you speak to it again, the grade point average and how that plays into the reviewing portion.
Yeah, so it's definitely graded. And that is like a pretty average. I mean, for me at least, I was like a 2.7 type of a kid. So it would definitely count towards this scholarship and be able to be graded. There's points assigned to it. I think it's like 4 or like 5 points or something like that. So you're on
Okay, yeah, because
so you would like
since I've got,
automatically get those points for your GPA.
yes, because since I've been back since the fall of 2021, I've been a 4.0.
Oh, cool.
But you know, because I had to, you know, because I was starting and then having to quit school and everything, you know, because I didn't have a babysitter for my kids,
Mm-hmm.
then I have a lot of, you know, I think they like withdrew me from classes, and you know, I failed some you know classes, you know, because I, you know, wasn't able to finish the semester out or whatever. And you know, but since I've been back, I've had nothing but 4.0. So
Yeah, that sounds like something I would like urge you when you apply to say in your challenges, you know, that's definitely a challenge. You know, got too busy before. Now you're getting it together and you have more time and you're getting back onto your education. I mean, that's definitely something that it's a really familiar story that we see in these applications is coming back to education. And like we said, it's so wide ranging, you know, it would probably all count and be cumulative, but that's the challenge.
okay, thank you very much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
thank you. And yeah, just speaking to the GPA again, there was another question about grades. So from Dolores. So go ahead and get your transcript from the fall semester, and then apply with that. And then once your grades come through for the spring, you can you know update your information and send our scholarships team um, the current transcript, because they'll reach out once you apply and ask you for if you haven't submitted it on your application, there's going to be a section where you can upload it. They'll ask you for your most recent transcript, but there's a section where in order to submit the application, you have to include a transcript. But thank you, Dolores. Yeah, go ahead and use the fall 2022 grades.
But we should go ahead and try to get our application in right, you know, like right away to get in there for the money so it doesn't run out, right? Isn't that what you said before?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so yeah, we really encourage students to although
Apply
there's
right now.
more funding this year, but yeah, we do encourage students to apply as soon as possible, rather than waiting until you know the last few weeks around the deadline. And I didn't see any more questions in the chat, but and if you missed anything or need anything you know from this webinar, we are recording it, and we'll send out a video of this, an edited video to all the attendees and the registrants, so you can watch it again and find anything that you missed. But again, you can also reach out to our scholarships team at scholarships@collegefund.org, or call that number that's in the chat, the 800-987-3863. And also visit our website at collegefund.org/scholarships. But once again, thank you both Stephanie and Siboney for joining us this evening. And yeah, we look forward to oh, there was one more question that popped in. So time for one more question. So what about internship for the summer 2023? I would still include an opportunity that you're going to be doing in the summertime, and just kind of include what you're going to be doing. But yeah, I think that you should add anything and everything that as far as honors, distinctions, accolades, and different experiences that you have.
Yeah, just think about community, culture, and family in your honors and distinctions, and in your answers. That's really important.
And then I'll add it one more time in the chat right before we go. Looks like yeah, you're welcome, Christine. Thank you for the question. And I'll add one more time the different links that you can use for the tips and frequently asked questions for the scholarships. And I will drop the link of our scholarships website one more time as well. Again, the application deadline is May 31st, and we look forward to all of your applications, and Siboney looks forward to reviewing all of those. But Siboney and Stephanie, thank you again for your time, and thank you everyone for joining us tonight. We hope you have a good evening.
You too. Thank
Thank you. Have a good
Take
night.
care. You as well. Take care. Bye.